Добрый день. Спасибо всем, что подключились. Мы очень рады, что вы нашли время поучаствовать в сегодняшнем вебинаре. Компания Factor Group является дистрибьютором SmartX на территории России и постсоветского пространства. Сегодня будет сессия сейловая для менеджеров по продажам и для пресейлов. Она тоже будет полезна. Формат у нас достаточно простой. Мы будем показывать презентацию, рассказывать про решение. Если у вас будут возникать какие-то вопросы, пожалуйста, сразу фиксируйте их либо в блокноте, либо в чате. Будет время после презентации, специальное время, отведенное на вопросы и ответы. Какие-то вопросы мы сможем ответить сразу в чате. Писать можно на английском, писать можно на русском. Соответственно, сам вебинар будет проходить на английском языке. Если что-то будет непонятно, не стесняйтесь спрашивать. На незаданный вопрос нет ответа, как известно. Поэтому чем правильнее будет задать вопрос и уточнить то, что осталось не совсем понятным. Пожалуйста, обратите внимание, что у компании Factor Group есть отдельный телеграм-канал для партнеров, где мы анонсируем все мероприятия, в том числе это мероприятие. И если вы хотите одним из первых знать, когда будет следующее мероприятие по нашим вендорам, пожалуйста, регистрируйтесь, записывайтесь в этот телеграм-канал. Я передаю слово Виктору Александровичу Ларину. Это исполнительный директор компании Factor Group. Виктор Александрович, вам слово.
Да, Дмитрий, спасибо. Да, коллеги, спасибо всем, кто присоединился сегодня к мероприятию. У меня, на самом деле, мое слово короткое, да. Собственно, перед тем, как передать слово нашему иностранному коллеге, да, я еще раз хотел бы поблагодарить всех тех партнеров, которые с нами как бы давно, и тех, кто, соответственно, вновь присоединившийся к нашим, называется, к нашим наработкам и то, что мы, собственно, позиционируем на рынке России и, соответственно, бывшего Советского Союза. В части, называется, нашей работы очень важно, да, то есть, опять-таки, для вас, да, то есть решение, о котором мы сегодня тоже будем в том числе рассказывать, да, это один из наших, называется, кей-топиков, кей-селлеров, да, компания, которая, опять-таки, в том числе, если говорить конкретно, например, по российскому рынку, не боится работать, соответственно, в условиях, в том числе и санкционных ограничений, да, поэтому скажем так, все вопросы, связанные с позиционированием решения, да, и всем, называется, всем его продвижением, да, они как бы, с одной стороны, очень важны, но мы понимаем прекрасно, что для нас и для наших партнеров, да, сейчас крайне важно, называется, иметь те решения от компаний, которые бы могли бы поддержать нас в условиях, конкретно, например, российской, да, в части, называется, тех же самых санкционных ограничений, да. SmartX один из таких очень ярких представителей, да, как бы решений, называется, класса, который, собственно, здесь озвучено, да, как бы вот разрешение, называют, гиперконвергентной инфраструктуры, да, соответственно, вчера, соответственно, коллеги делали презентацию по части решений в области технологических аспектов, да, использования, называется, SmartX и вокруг, да, то есть, опять-таки, всем, кто не поучаствовал, если там ваши коллеги инженерные не поучаствовали, да, в презентацию мы с удовольствием как бы вышлем рекординг, да, который был, соответственно, сегодняшняя презентация, она также будет для вас доступна по окончании, и после этого всем, ну, по крайней мере, всем тем, кто зарегистрировался или кто сегодня участвует, да, презентация будет в дальнейшем выслана в виде, называется, там, ссылки на ее запись, да. Немножко, может быть, еще пару, называется, вещей по формату, да, соответственно, сейчас мы, как таковое, закончив часть на русском, соответственно, передадим слово нашему коллеге из компании SmartX Wesley, да, он, соответственно, будет дальше, соответственно, делать основное, так сказать, такое, как мы называем, best practices shares, да, в отношении, соответственно, продаж SmartX, да, для вас. Во время, называется, проведения его презентации, да, мы погасим микрофоны, да, соответственно, поэтому, как говорил Дмитрий, да, соответственно, делайте заметки на полях или просто пишите в чатик, да, русский язык, английский, что вам удобнее, мы совершенно спокойно просто как бы собираем все ваши текущие вопросы, да, после окончания основной сессии мы, соответственно, делаем как бы структуру открытого микрофона, и можно будет задавать вопросы вокруг, около, называется, как сказать, все, что касается там технологии, продажи, называется, всех остальных аспектов. По максимуму постараемся на все это дело отметить, на это все дело ответить. Да? Как Дмитрий говорил, да, собственно, да, буквально-таки называется перед тем, как передать слово коллеге, да, то есть концепция работы нас как фактор групп, да, мы называем себя проектно-ориентированный дистрибьютор, поэтому, собственно, в том числе, да, соответственно, с появлением SmartX в нашей продуктовом портфеле, да, для вас как бы общий стиль работы не меняется, да, кто с нами работает давно, знает, что у нас есть определенно унифицированные формы, да, связанные с Project Registration Deal, да, и, соответственно, все это хозяйство нами отслеживается, да, передается, соответственно, с вендору, и, соответственно, делается полный трекинг по нему, да. SmartX, соответственно, с появлением в нашей линейке, да, он также вошел, называется, в тот же самый, называется, процесс-ориентированный подход, которым мы, соответственно, работаем по другим, называется, вендорам, да. Если, соответственно, у вас возникают какие-то вопросы, или вы, соответственно, хотите что-то, называется, скажем так, проработать с нами, то настоятельно рекомендуем сразу же, ну, то есть, как бы, понятно, есть общие вопросы какого-то плана, которые Дмитрий и его команда с удовольствием, соответственно, вас там поддержат, расскажут, да, если есть какие-то вещи, ассоциированные с проектом, настоятельно рекомендуем сразу же, соответственно, идти по структуре Project Registration, да, соответственно, заполнять соответствующую форму, она там до крайности простая, да, и, соответственно, это в том числе даст возможности делать защиту ваших, называется, инвестиций временных, да, и, соответственно, вашей активности непосредственно по будущих активностей в продвижении SmartX. Да. Затем я тогда, собственно, свою вводную часть заканчиваю, да, передаю слово нашему коллеге, да, соответственно, я тогда перейду на английский язык, собственно, и дальше презентация уже пойдет на английском языке. Wesley, I'm just finished, let me say, like a brief introduction, yeah, for the folks, yeah, especially again, like all of the aspects, yeah, just it's about again, like yeah, the brief overview that's from the, let me say, from perspective of the SmartX solution distribution through the factor group channels. Yeah, we're actually ready to support all of the activities for the present partners in the matter of the direct questions, and plus also if it will be associated some projects, yeah, the folks will be for sure more than welcome, again, like to fill registration forms that give us more, let me say, like a possibilities to follow up them in a more specific manner, yeah, or more precise manner, let me say, and also supporting the channel partners grow, yeah, and also investment, yeah, in the promote the SmartX solutions, yeah. But over the rest, yeah, just feel free, again, like, yeah, to share the, let me say, like, yeah, all of the best practices, yeah. It's right now the your time, yeah, and you can ready to, again, like, yeah, hope ready to shoot, yeah, all the best things, yeah, to the auditory, yeah.
Okay, so thank you again, Victor, and thank you very much for all. My name is Wesley Folk, and I'm the business development director for SmartX, who responsible for the overseas market. Our overseas market, which means that it's anything outside of China. So currently, SmartX, we are penetrating heavily in Asia and Middle East, including Korea, a little bit of Japan, Southeast Asia, and Middle East, especially in Dubai, in Kuwait, and in Bahrain. And we also have a little bit penetration in Europe. Of course, one of the major things that we are covering today is Russian market. So I wish that like everyone feel free to type your question in the chat. And after I go through a presentation, then we will have more time to discuss, and I will try to answer all your questions. Thank you very much. So if everybody's ready, then we can start now.
Wesley, where I see your screen.
So today, like, yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, well.
Can you? Okay.
Yep.
Now,
yes,
is
well.
it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a brief agenda for today's presentation. Like, I have a couple of slides briefly talk about who is SmartX, how long we have exist. And then I will briefly talk about our products, because like basically all the technical details was shared yesterday in the engineer sessions. But feel free to ask, and we will drop down the questions, and then we will get back to you later. And later on, like I will share some of the case that we've been doing in China or in other parts of the world, and hope that, you know, like these case will enlighten you guys like to work with your end users to find the right customers, you know, or right application that we can penetrate in the market. Okay, who is SmartX? Well, it's stated very clear. We are innovator of the modernized like infrastructure. So since we established our company, we only do one thing and one thing only. We focus on the hyperconvergent infrastructure. So with the SDS and the cloud native storage, those are things that we are focused. We don't do VDIs, we don't do other stuff. We only focus on the HCI platform. So,
Алло.
well,
Да, Алексей.
Yeah, okay. I have roadmap next page, but you know, like we established, sorry. So we established since 2013, and all these years, like we act as a challenger of VMware and Nutanix in China. So we became, after 6 years, we became #1 in Chinese banking and finance sector of HCI market share. So, and we implement more than 10,000 nodes and support more than 100 petabytes of storage. So the reason why we emphasize the banking and finance market, because you can imagine the banking and the finance market, they are dealing with money. So their requirements are more stringent on the reliability and the performance. So it's not easy to climb up to the #1, but we're able to do it within 6 years. So which proves that our solutions are robust and reliable. So I can briefly talk about like our footprint. As I mentioned, we established our company on 2013. Our version 1.0 actually finished the coding in 2014, mid of 2014. But after we finished the version 1.0, we didn't launch it like commercially. We had beta users, we had our partners test it, we enhanced our products, not until 2 years later. In the 2016, mid of 2016, we officially launched our SMTX OS 2.0 as a commercial release. Because like by that time, we feel we are confident, like to provide a robust and a reliable solutions to our end users. So actually, it only took us within 6 years to climb from a new player in the market to the #1 player in the banking and finance field for the HCI paradigm. And throughout the years, we came up with like 3.5, 4.0, and our latest version, it's 5.0. So our company now like formed around like 200 people, and most of the people, like 2/3 of people, they're engineers who do the coding and do the product and do the development. So we are very dedicated to build our product. And furthermore, our product, we didn't write on some open source and make some enhancement and build some additional modules on top of that. Every solution, every function and features, we build from scratch. It's our homegrown solutions. We have our R&D team to build the products as you see later or you see yesterday. So, well, throughout the years, not just that I'm talking about how great we are, but like all these years, we got recognitions from the global, like medias or analysis, like Gartner, probably you guys know it very well, IDC, Forrester, to TechTarget, and you can see we only just get it 1 year, we continuously get, recognitions like in 2019, 2020, 2021. Well, 2022, we're working on that, but we look forward, we will get more recognitions this year because like actually our overseas market established like since last year. So, well, we have done a lot of works like with different partners and in different countries. So we expect the recognitions, we'll get more recognitions from the global players and the global analysts and media, of course. So, well, I don't want to brag too much. So let's get into our product offering. As some of you may have seen yesterday, so with my pre-sales engineer, Muran, he demonstrated the products. What SmartX offer, it's purely on the virtualization storage side. So we have our HCI software, SMTX OS. That's our core module for the hyperconvergent infrastructure. And then we have our SDS, the distributed storage. We call it SMTX ZBS. And later on this year, we start launching our Kubernetes IO Mesh cloud native storage. And then also we introduce some network and security features. We call it every router. And all these solutions were managed under one single console. We call it Cloud Tower, which we can manage not just one cluster, but through one single Cloud Tower, we can manage multiple clusters within your facility, within your infrastructure. Well, local or cross cities. I will talk about it later. Feel free to ask questions. And this year, in our roadmap, we are also working on introducing VPC, distributed file storage, and we will also introduce backup and advanced DR features with our smart SMTX OS. So how are we going to implement or cover within the enterprise cloud environment? Well, in the yellow, in the green blocks, they are the traditional application infrastructure of end users. So they have applications, they have database, they have middleware, and those are things that users should take care of themselves. But below that, the infrastructure part, starting from the VMs to the storage, to the servers, or even to the data center, robo to edge, those are the places we are going to get into. Like, we are going to provide the compute powers, we are going to provide the capacities for the VMs, we are going to provide a native VMs by ourselves, or we can support VMware's VMs or Citrix Sense servers. All the things was monitored, again, with the single unified control unit, we call it Cloud Tower. Okay, so these are some of the customers that we had globally. And you can see that, besides some local Chinese customers, but we also have some global names. Like we have Panasonic, we have Sumitomo Chemicals, we have Hitachi, we have Mitsubishi, BMWs, and below the lower column, like SBS, which is from Korea, Cafe 24, it's from Korea, and Fortech, it's a semiconductor company from Japan. And on the top, Bank of Communication Bank, which is one of the largest banks in the world, who acquires Bank of America years ago. So you can see that our penetration, not just within China, but we're trying to get out of China. But of course, China, it's our core base. And you can see that, as I keep mentioning, that we are the #1 player in the HCI paradigm of banking and finance in China. It was recognized by IDC. So we didn't just talk about it, actually it's a global recognition. And another thing, I think it's more interesting, it's our repurchase rate, which means that the customer repurchase our solution and how fast and how big we penetrate in the customers. So you can see that 77% of the repurchase rate, which means that 77% of our customers, they will repurchase SmartX to expand their HCI infrastructure. It proves that, our products, definitely we have something to please them and they think that we're a good product. That's why they will expand our implementation in their environment. This is not easy to get, and this is a very good proven recognitions from our customers. So we had total, we are supporting more than 500 customers in China only, but you can see more than 150 of them are in the banking and finance field. So 1/3 of the customers, they are from the banking and finance. So these are some of the largest deployment that we have so far. So you can see that Guotai Junan Securities, which is a huge financial conglomerate in China. They have insurance company, they have stock exchange, they have stock brokers, they have banks, they have all kinds of credit companies. So altogether, they implement more than 200 nodes. As far as I recall, actually, they have 253 nodes altogether implemented within their facilities. And we have Taigong Insurance, 140 nodes plus. We have China Security, we have more than 200 nodes again. And Bank of Communication, we have more than 160 nodes. So you can see that, we don't just deploy small, but we are able to support large deployments, large sets of nodes farms, computer farms in banking and finance, one of the most stringent customers, mission critical and high requirements. So besides China, we also penetrate outside of like China. So on your right-hand side, you can see that those are some of our Korean customers, including SBS, which is a bank. Sumitomo Chemical, it's a chemical company. Shinsegae, it's a Korean retail chain, department stores. And Yuju Electronics, it's also a Korean electronic manufacturer. And on the other hand, in Middle East, we penetrated banks, IBK, which is a Bank of Kuwait, and Loops Automation is an automation company. Study Tree, it's a education company, and also we penetrate into a petroleum company and logistic company. Well, sorry, I cannot read Arab, so I know these names, I know these customers, but I'm unable to say that. Okay. So let's talk about, briefly talk about like what we offer or what our products looks like. Before everything, we can talk about the traditional IT challenge, IT infrastructures, and how our end users look at to modernize or migrate their legacy infrastructures. Like they always have limited budgets and manpower. They have short and long-term demands, and they need delicate hardware, centralized storage, like those things that you know very well. But at the same time, if you try to digitalize your legacy infrastructure, that will be a complex and long planning, heavy manual operations, which will cost a lot on the support O&M side, destructive upgrades. You experience downtime on the software upgrades or hardware upgrades. Well, if you try to get to virtualization from scratch, it's costs a lot of money. That's why your TCO will be high, but the effectiveness will be very low. Security concern, of course, like to every customer, and time consuming. That's like always happening. These are the challenges that most of our customers facing today if they're trying to digitalize or modernize their IT infrastructure. So what we offer, SmartX, a hyper-convergent infrastructure. Our solutions, what's simple, it's flexible, elastic in architecture, so that people or customers can grow their computer nodes to their capacity freely, and then proven stability with all the banking customers that we have. We have a wide range of compatibility servers and hardwares that like I will list later. We have rich function features on the data protection and the virtualization management, and also intelligent operation and management. So compared to a standard public cloud on-demand deployment, well, on your left side, those are the legacy, existing 3-tier infrastructures. You have the VMs, servers, switch, and then storage. Well, the thing is, like it's clumsy, it's hard to manage. With SmartX, we bring the storage up to the VM level, and then we manage it under the hypervisors. And then the servers will be more clean, and the network will be more easy to manage, and everything will make it more simple and cost effectively to maintain the entire infrastructure. So this is our value. Again, I keep saying it's simpler, it's easy, it's flexible, elastic. Like we have the flexibility for you to building blocks in your virtualization infrastructures. We have better performance than the traditional SAN storage. And then of course, well, while you enjoy all the benefits, like we're trying to lower your cost, TCO, the total cost of ownership. So these are the benefits that like initially we're trying to bring to the end users. Now, some benefits of SmartX and like their reliability and performance. So this is the basic architecture of like our offering. So from the top, we have Cloud Tower, which is the unified management platform, the control panel for the entire infrastructure. And below that, we have our core modules, SMTX OS, which is the HCI software, provide the virtualization and the storage management, everything. Well, under that, we support several different hypervisors or KVM. So generically, we support VMware, we support Citrix. And then we also offer our native hypervisor. We call it ELF. So underneath, like we will bring in all those like different data protection solutions, like for the end users, like and for the performance optimization, and then for securities and for ease of management. And also, like in terms of the hardware, we support Intel-based or AMD-based CPUs. We support SSD or Intel Optane persistent memory. In terms of storage, we support all flash or hybrid flash, which is like hard drive mixed with SSDs. And more below, like for network, 10 gig, 25 gig, or 100 gig, like we all support them, and we support RDMA. So before everything, I would like to talk about hypervisor. Yesterday, some people asked, and I think like the hypervisor or KVM is one of the key cornerstone of the entire VM architecture. So basically, VMware is very popular. So we support ESXi generically, and we do have tools to migrate or manage VMware VMs, and also we support Citrix Send servers. But more importantly, as I mentioned, we also offer a native hypervisor. We call it ELF. So it's a product-ready solutions. It's easy to use, and it's license-free. Everything comes with the package. So you don't have to pay extra for your license on the VMs and the hypervisors. So the beauty part is it's production-ready and it's license-free. So versus some of the customers, if they try to build a brand new virtualization environment, they have to pay a high price on the VMware VMs. But like for us, one package, you got your HCI and your VM and your hypervisor, and it's ready to go. You just implement it, and you can build your own virtualization environment already. From our experience, 46% of our customers was using ELF instead of a VMware environment. So this is a very good milestone and a roadmap. Like before that, proven that ELF, our ELF solutions, is a very proven VM architecture. So what I'm trying to share is these are some of the customers who were under a hybrid environment, I would say. So because like under our cloud tower, we support a pure ELF environment, VMware environment, and we also support hybrid environment. So under this case, like the four like share case that let's say China Securities, what we're doing is we are in a single cluster, same environment. The customers were using 70 nodes from our ELF and 180 nodes from the VMware within the same cluster, managed by the same management console of Cloud Tower, and using our HCI solution as the capacity management and the storage. So this is a very good example to show the customers that if they existing using VMware and they try to migrate to something new, but well, for whatever reasons, they're unable to get a VMware, then what we can do is, they can still maintain their VMware Web3 platform, but on top of that, they can put it on top of SmartX SMTX OS, and we can manage them and provide a capacity for them. So Everbright Securities, it's the same thing. They're using 30 nodes from ELF and only 7 nodes from VMware. And Tianjin Bank, well, it's a pure Citrix Send server solutions. Or like BOE, we have 39 nodes on ELF and 20 nodes from VMware's Web3. These are some of the examples that they've been doing using SmartX as the hybrid environment. Okay, I saw some questions. As I said, like I will cover it later on. So in terms of data protections, actually we provide a full range of data protections, starting from the hard drives all the way up to cross-site replications. So we have hard drives, we have like data checksum to the node base, we have multiple replicas, we support 1 copy, 2 copies, 3 copies, snapshots. And on rack, We support rack awareness to make sure that, if something goes wrong with your rack in your data center, then we recognize it, and we will, like shift the data like to other VMs to make sure that everything's okay, all the way up to the data center active, like disaster recovery to cross-city replications. So it's a higher class of data protection. So in the SMTX OS, we provide full range of data protection solutions to make sure that the data are well protected and is secure with a good performance. So speaking of performance, we provide end-to-end performance optimizations from our distributed architectures to our data locality, make sure that no press like won't delay your latency, won't create latency with your data copying. And then we support RDMA protocol. We have boost modes. And also, we have auto tier hot and cold data, make sure that we have intelligence to understand like how you use the data, make sure that your hot data will be in the most approachable volume, and then with the higher performance. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, we support Intel Optane persistent memory. So it will boost up your entire infrastructure. But of course, like Intel Optane, it costs more money. So these are some numbers that, like to show that, like how customers, after they're using SmartX OS, and then how they improve their performance. I'm not going to go into details with the numbers. When I share the presentation with you, you guys can look at it and you guys can ask all kinds of questions. And again, it proves that we are well-proven reliability in the live environment. We have deployed more than 10,000 nodes already. Again, the repurchase rate is more than 77%. Close to 70% of our customers are running SMTX OS on their production systems. So we support all kinds of database from MySQL to Oracle, SQL Server, to some Chinese-based database solutions. In terms of applications, we're in the online banking, payment system, transaction systems, evaluation system, CDP, or in healthcare, HAS, MR, RIS, LIS, you name it. And in the manufacturing and retail paradigm, the MAS system are very important, the ERP, the POS system, or the CRM. We support all these, and I guess when you run into customers, they have these requirements, you can go to Factor Group and come to us, like we will share you more in-depth use case, or we will try to have consultant understand the end user environment, and then we can work out some solutions together in order to provide robust solutions to your end user. So again, performance compared with some like SAN storage. So you can see that the IOPS rate, well, to compare to a 2-rack 4-controller system with a 3-node basic systems, we are 1.4 times faster in terms of IOPS. Our bandwidth is 2.1 times way better than them. And we're 80% lower in terms of the latency. So you can see that our performance outperform from the SAN solutions, which I believe currently in Russian market, this is one of the area we can look into. I don't expect, we can convince the customers to swap from their existing Nutanix platform to a brand new platform. It's an uphill battle. May not be the most preferred customers, but at the same time, if customers, they already have a SAN storage and they are looking for some alternatives or try to upgrade their infrastructure to HCI, this is a good way, and it's a good solution and a good market that we should aim into. Because like the figures, the numbers prove that they will gain the performance and the stability in terms of their virtualization and their capacities. So again, just trying to share some of our experience after customers using our products, like how good they improve, the performance were improved. So in some transfer agent system in a bank, we actually improve their system performance by 90%. On the other hand, some business critical systems, we can improve 100% of their performance, and from 180% to 40%. So Well, this shows that, like we are able to improve some live mission critical solutions for the end users in the banking and finance field. So another benefit from SmartX, which is our linear scale out. Our basic system starts from 3 nodes. And after you build it, you can scale up whenever you want. You can do it like add nodes one by one, or you can add 10 or 15 or 20 nodes, all together. So it goes when you like. And our intelligence are able to rebalance your capacity, make sure that, like everything, it's non-disrupt and it's live scale out. So, like it's linear performance improvement, and there will be no disruption for the actual production. And also, one key features that we provided, we support heterogeneous cluster. Which it means is some of the HCI solutions, when you try to build the server farms for the cluster, you have to use the same brand and the same model of the servers in order to create the clusters. But we are different. We support the customers or the end user to use various brands at the same time, different models at the same time within the same cluster, and we still provide those non-disruptive scale out performance. So this is a very key for the end users to play with their existing investments or to plan now for the future migration of upgraded hardware. So pay as you grow. This is one of our security customers. In 2017, they only get 6 nodes, but throughout the years, they grow up to 240 nodes. So you can see that, how fast they are growing and how flexible are we. So like on the first year, they maintain with the 6 nodes, but after that, they just add another 8 nodes throughout the year. In 2020, all of a sudden they grow 60 nodes and then they grow up and forward. So this is a flexibility for end user to plan and to cater for their long-term needs. At the same time, if all of a sudden some of the business unit, they require more computer power and more capacity, they can do it whenever they like. So why selection of servers? Like as I mentioned before, we support all kinds of like brands of servers from Dell EMCs to Huawei, Inspur, A3C, Supermicro, Hewlett-Packard, Lenovo. Each of the servers, we had certified certain models that we support well. And then I guess later on, we would talk about like the server's requirements and things like that. But, like I would rather we do it like after the presentation, because like I anticipate this will be a big topic that we will need to cover. So this is an example. It's a mining company in China. So what they did is, like 2 years ago, like they are using Supermicro, some older servers. They only have 4 of them, but they want to migrate to the newer platform with the newer Dell R series servers. So we help them gradually migrate from 4 servers to 10 servers. And during that period of time, they can move all the operations from the Supermicro machines to the R series machines, like gradually and non-disrupt. And it's good for them to plan for the budget and the resources and everything. So remember that, the entire migration was seamless. So there is no disruption for their productions. Okay, now after all the, the capacity and the servers, and let's get to our management console, Cloud Tower. So you can see that, like our Cloud Tower, single Cloud Tower in one place. We can manage all your resources pool. Let's say, take China, for example. We can manage all the remote resources pool, your edge or your robot, through one single Cloud Tower. Of course, you can implement more Cloud Towers as a departmental Cloud Towers or regional Cloud Towers, like to manage their own resources. But we still can manage everything under one single Cloud Tower as the headquarters or the key management console for the entire infrastructure. This is a very, very important thing because you can imagine that within Cloud Tower, we manage from your capacity, your server, your rack, and your VMs. Everything can manage within one management GUI. Oops. Yeah. So this is our GUI. So like our Cloud Tower looks like very simple to use, straightforward. And yesterday, actually, my pre-sales engineer had do some demonstration. And I guess later on, Factor Group and I will work on some demo site that we will schedule time for our partners and end users to experience our Cloud Tower and to experience on our solutions. So on top of that, again, the same the mining company, what they did is, like they have different locations in China. They have 2 data centers in Shanghai. They have 2 data centers in the southern part, and they have a production plant in the north of China. So they manage everything in Shanghai, but at the same time, these sites, they are actually doing the remote applications. So it's a DR replicate architecture that can control by the Cloud Towers. And within one Cloud Tower, we manage all the clusters within the entire system. So in terms of implementation, well, because like such a large system, supposedly it takes a long time. Actually, it's no. Well, day 0 planning, what I mean is, like, of course, like for customers, they have to plan their migration and everything. It takes time. So, but it's more on the end user side. So it takes several days, for them to plan. But after they have the plan came out, our deployment, even for the remote replication or DRs, it only take a day. Everything will goes up and running, even though it's for remote replications or cross-site replications. And after the first day, after deployment, it's up and running. It's all about operation and management. So this is how easy we deploy. Furthermore, because like if you shrink our like traditional architecture into a new HCI environment, probably you can save more servers and the storage space. So you will save 50% of the rack space. And since well, you toss out all the users' hardware, then the power saving, the power consumption will be decreased by 30%. So this is like a brief summary of like what kind of benefits that we can bring on the table. It's repeating what I've been saying. So I guess I'm not going to go into detail. So again, SmartX offering. We have Cloud Towers, we have SMTX OS, we have ZBS, and iMesh and Everwell. How are we going to charge? So in terms of software, we deliver in 2 ways. We have perpetual software license, or we have subscription SaaS model. So the SaaS will be counted by annually, and then perpetual license is perpetual license. You own the license. And in terms of license scheme, that's how we go. Well, actually, we make our product very simple to digest. We only have 2 versions, enterprise version or standard version. Basically, everything is the same. Both versions start with 3 nodes. We count the license by number of nodes. And all the basic components, including SMTX OS, our CBE, our ELF, the hypervisor, and Cloud Tower, were all included in the package. So there will be no extra cost for those components. For enterprise version, we support maximum number of hosts of 245 nodes within one cluster. So I'm not talking about multiple clusters. Single cluster, we support up to 255 nodes. So like with the enterprise version, it's a full version. You enter everything with the enterprise version. Versus our standard version, also we start with 3 nodes. License is also counted by number of nodes. All the basic components are the same, but there will be a limitations on the total number of nodes within one cluster. You can only deploy up to 5 nodes with one cluster. So our standard versions was aiming for the customers who is looking for a small deployment, or it's kind of like a testing phase, try to experience the HCI, but they don't have a big deployment or big applications or requirements. Then a standard version can cater to those end users. We do have a migration path for end users to upgrade from standard versions to enterprise versions. So there still be flexibility for them to grow their brand, but it depends on the requirements and the customer expectations. That's how we segmentize, standard versions and enterprise versions. Furthermore, we do provide option features. The disaster recovery modules and the metro availability modules, which is the remote applications. Those two features are only applied in the enterprise versions, which means that you have to have the enterprise versions in order to support the disaster recovery and the remote applications. Those two option features are also licensed by a number of nodes. Yeah, so I guess, like if you have any questions about the pricing license scheme, please, type it in the chat. We'll cover it later. So, I guess the cooperation model, like the channel and the ongoing support. Since Vector Group, it's our distributor, so all the price information, very important, new registrations, pre-sale support, commercial and logistics support, and process support, please go through Vector Group. Like, even though you can send me email directly, ask for assistance on the strategy on an account, like on some applications, how we tackle it, I'm more than happy to help. But for pricing information for deal registrations, make sure that you go for Vector Groups, because we always go by the channel model. So that's why, even though you come to me directly, and I will pass you right back to Vector Group accordingly to make sure that, we have the right structure, because I don't speak Russians. Even though I want to support, I'm not able to do that. And I guess, some of you may have more questions on the post-sale support about the tiers and everything. So I can cover a little bit, but the details I will let Victor or Dimitri to explain it in more details. So Vector Group will be our second line of support. He will provide the local support in terms of the technical support and the language. We, SmartX, we will be the third line of support. Like whenever something that unable to fix, then they will come to us, and our support team will provide the answers and look into details. But it always goes with this hierarchy. So, well, I'm not sure, should I do the case sharing, or we should answer some of the questions?
Maybe it will be nice to make a short break, just to answer a couple of the questions here.
I think so too. I think so.
Yes,
too.
that will be also again already. Let me say, just been discussed practically. Some of them is actually well correlate with them is actually bring on the table yesterday. But let's make this one repeated. For sure. Again, as maybe you can see some of the questions, like the folks been wrote it in the, let me say, in the chat in English, but some of them has actually been in the Russian. But again, let me just make you kind of the debrief. The first one, just for sure, we have again because especially the solutions for present days in Russia, you also knows, we have some again on the Russian market, we have some limitations with the hardware availability, and that's why as always a kind of the combined product is actually kill the two, let me say, major let me say interests, or shooting to the, let me say, to the two major interests that is actually coming from the customers, because as first of all, let me say, they reduce time to the market, and second one, they already like to get this type of the final solutions that can be already completely fully tested, accepted by the, let me say, by the vendor, and that's why especially again Nutanix done the things right, even the folks well understood that underneath, Nutanix also used for example Supermicro and some other, let me say, things or using on the way, that's why the one of the question practically two of the questions have been bring by the folks on the table, it actually runs around again this type of the again a combined hardware again, like, yeah, or just again, hardware plus software, let me say, solutions, yeah, available. And plus also the folks also by looking on the, let me say, on the SmartX website, yeah, found some kind of the Halo appliance, yeah, that was actually just been also presented by the SmartX, yeah, with the, again, like with the practically with the same flavor, the interest to get this type of the fully finalized solution. And just like, yeah, bring you the, let me say, the first question, yeah, about this one, yeah. We can actually can answer this, yeah, in the, let me say, in the more details on the later session. I can do this one in the Russian one, but feel free to give your, let me say, like, yeah, get your first, let me say, wording from your side, yeah. Okay. And then I actually can also a little bit speak in the Russian, yeah, to the auditory, yeah.
Okay, so my answer is no. I'm sorry, but no. Well, I guess like, well, we all understand why you guys, everyone trying to look for hardware solutions, especially under like the current situation. I understand that. And honestly, like, okay, before everything happens, like when I try to penetrate EMEA and Middle East, like our policy will be the same. Well, we are not intending to sell our appliances out of China for two reasons initially. The first one, the hardware itself, of course, like we didn't build the hardware. We OEM from Supermicro, we OEM from Dell. We just placed our, like the baseboard, like to make it look SmartX. But the key is, like we also purchased the hardware from the same people that you are looking for. And when it comes to outside of the Chinese market, well, that will be a challenge for us to support that. Because like support software, we answer questions by email, remote access, everything's fine. But when it comes to hardware, well, we talk about spare parts, remote access, all kinds of support issues, import, export tax, those kind of things. Those are things, especially we support like all different countries. It's no way for us to support that. So that's why initially we decided not to deliver the appliances, the hardware appliances outside of China. It's out of our extent. So this is the decision before anything happened.
Okay. Maybe I can also make give me some room to also translate this one into the Russian, yeah, if you don't mind, yeah. Да, коллеги, да, собственно, да, то есть как бы, да, возвращаясь, называется, да, к тому, чтобы, да, что все-таки на русском тоже поговорить немножко, да, собственно, о чем, собственно, как бы сказал Уэсли, да, то есть опять-таки, да, это, собственно, не политика конкретно, да, то есть политика компании на текущее время, как сказал Уэсли, да, это не относится конкретно к России, это вообще, соответственно, политика компании изначально, что вот те HAL-апплайенсы, которые называются внизу, как бы стоят под планом, называется, используются внутри решения, хоть там называется с красивым как бы лейбелинг, да, который, соответственно, там, как бы Уэсли сказал, да, то есть компания, когда, соответственно, изначально выходила на, выходила на другие рынки, да, не только российские, да, то есть она изначально шла с позиции того, что эти апплайенсы не называются, грубо говоря, не поставлять, да, но это не означает, что так, это просто в общем всем аспекте не означает, что мы не можем поставлять, то есть в том числе, грубо говоря, у нас как бы остаются более чем как бы тесные взаимоотношения с тем же Супермайкро, да, и потенциально как таковой при всех известных спецификациях, о чем, собственно, в том числе Уэсли упомянул, да, и, соответственно, с возможностью оказания правильного локального саппорта, да, который, собственно, как таковой как бы ложится в том числе как бы на нас, да, соответственно, в регионе, да, мы, соответственно, можем такие штуки делать. То есть, в принципе, мы можем собирать, как бы соответствующие апплайенсы, да, с тем, чтобы они, с одной стороны, находились в HCL, который, соответственно, скажем так, официально опрувлен со стороны, называется, товарищей SmartX, да, но, соответственно, как бы деливерить их называется, как сказать, under, как бы соответствующий, как бы немножко другой name, да, то есть это будет, понятно, не HAL appliance, да, а будет, не знаю, XYZ appliance, да, который, соответственно, будет, грубо говоря, полностью финализирован, да. То есть если у вас есть соответствующие запросы, да, на такого рода вещи, да, или, ну, вчера тоже как бы эти вопросы там кто-то в инженерном блоке тоже задавал активно, да, из коллег, соответственно, как бы обращайтесь, да, то есть нам нужно все равно как-то, то есть мы исходим из соответствующих кейсов, да, доступ к соответствующему железу есть, да, понятно, дальше как бы вопрос возникает, там, может, совокупной стоимости, да, особенно в текущих, ну, как бы conditions в отношении как бы российского рынка, да, хотя на самом деле с учетом того, что у нас присутствуют партнеры всего там рынка называется, как сказать, бывшего СНГ называется, да, как сказать, СНГ или, соответственно, бывшего называется, сказать, Советского Союза, да, то, в принципе, там этих вопросов никаких, называется, не возникает, да, и, соответственно, железо доступно, его, в принципе, скажем так, существенно проще местами как бы получить, там как бы не только называется Supermicro, тот же самый Dell, который как бы является, то есть две основные опорные платформы, которые коллеги SmartX используют. Yeah? Sorry, just like Wesley, I'm just talk a little bit more. Yeah,
Sure.
you just let me say like I'm just also explain it that again, like just follow. Let me say your messaging. Just a little bit broader this one. In the matter that we are ready to support. If again, like if we'll see again like a particular request coming for, let me say for more precise request coming, what kind of architectures will be interested, including again hardware underneath. Yeah, we're more than welcome to support the folks. Yeah, especially by delivering the similar hardware things like, for example, Supermicro, or even for example in some regions here, because we right now have the folks from all of the ex-USSR region, not only the Russia. Yeah, that's why like in some of the regions, yeah, for example, like the Dell availability is still very again like easy to consume, yeah, and to get. Yeah, that's why like we can actually follow the HCI, let me say, list or suggestion based on the, let me say, on the SmartX preferences, yeah, to build this either, yeah, on the prem or, for example, just to deliver again like the things based on the commodity appliances, yeah, or commodity servers infrastructure. Yeah, that's the people actually will have the choices. Yeah, or will have
I know,
choice, yeah.
I know. But secondly, actually, well, okay, I was explaining like the decision before anything happens. But now, actually, well, it's not that I don't want to, it's I cannot. Because like all the OEM partners like Dell or Supermicro, like when we place the order, we have to state the end users. And I guess, you know, like then we will fall into the same token that, you know, like why you guys cannot buy hardware. Well, when it comes to that, same thing. They will not ship it to like Russia for the time being. I guess we all understand. So that's why it's hard. But well, actually, well, with Vector Group, I guess, you know, in the past week, Victor, we talked about it. And what we are trying to do now, we are trying to came up with some reference configurations. And what we're trying to do, it's, I can understand, you know, like without the hardware, you know, it's no point to purchase the software, like from the customer side. So how we're going to promote our product? As our products, as I mentioned earlier, every cluster we support heterogeneous, you know, hardware brands, but we still look for particular models. So what we will provide later on is we will came up with a list of brand name and the models of the servers, the hardware that we're going to support. We will try to minimize the hardware configuration, make sure that they can support, let's say, the standard version, a smaller setup of the virtualization, and with a minimum configuration to have some experience on the HCI platform, so that the end user, you know, maybe they're trying to replace their SAN storage, or they were looking for a small HCI solutions, we are still able to fulfill their requirements. And but at the same time, they don't have to purchase new servers. Maybe they will need additional SSDs, network cards, or fiber channel cards, but at least it's better than to purchase a new server. So Vector Group and I will work on that, and we try to provide that list in order to help you to talk to the customers. I'm from sales, so I understand what kind of challenge that like all you guys will facing when you're meeting the customers. They will ask the same question. I fully understand, but the situation, you know, we need to come up with something that can work around. Victor.
Yep, thanks a lot, Wesley. Just let me make some translation to the folks. Да? Коллеги, да, собственно, да, как раз там в продолжении того же самого вопроса, да, мы понимаем прекрасно, и, соответственно, Wesley как раз и говорит, да, собственно, как раз наш этот концепт, который мы в том числе с коллегами обсуждаем внутри SmartX, да, с тем, чтобы действительно поддерживать этот, называется, там, такой, с одной стороны, понятно, что у SmartX есть соответствующий, называется, hardware compatibility list, да, но, соответственно, мы все-таки попытаемся как бы narrow down, да, то есть как бы действительно свести его к определенному, называется, такому фокусным конфигурациям. Это как раз вот там там к вопросу коллеги, называется, Ивана, да, в виде того, что всякие, называется, проблемы, мы понимаем все это прекрасно, да, что, соответственно, вот эти там пермутации внутренние, соответственно, поддержка, как скажем так, выверка определенная, называется, там, конфигурация такого best-кейса, называется, да, которая железная, которая использовалась внутри, она как бы важна для всех, да. Поэтому, с одной стороны, мы понимаем, ну, конкретно, опять-таки, относящийся к российскому сегменту, да, что как бы все мы, называется, то, что называется, перебываемся на лету, но на самом деле мы все как бы приучаемся как бы жить, называется, немножко в других реалиях, да. Поэтому, собственно, вопрос тому, что если у вас есть какие-то соответствующие кейсы, есть какие-то вопросы, ну, например, там у нас просто там приходят, например, партнеры, спрашивают, там, соответственно, то есть ему нужно, он строит проект, у которого там, ну, в общем, в аспекте TCO, ну, так, в общем, в аспекте там 3-5 лет, да. Поэтому, собственно, в рамках таких аспектов, да, мы понимаем в том числе определенного рода там как бы риски, которые могут возникнуть у вас, у заказчика, да. Это в том числе понимаем мы как дистрибьютор, понимаем в том числе вендор, да. Поэтому, в принципе, возвращайтесь назад, ну, просто к тому, чтобы, то есть, как бы, нам все как бы в том числе и ваши вопросы, и там потенциальное называется, там, как это сказать, ожидание, проблемные ожидания, риски, да, они как бы не менее важны к обсуждению, да, поэтому возвращайтесь, будем обсуждать и находить соответствующие какого-то рода решения, да. Вот, да, по поводу, да, называется, как бы, да, еще вопрос, может быть, я там быстро сейчас, ну, как бы, в принципе, тоже обсуждали по поводу тренингов, да, соответственно, по тренингам, по всей остальной программе ожидайте от нас ответа, у нас как раз, собственно, мы завтра будем с коллегами встречаться внутри, обсуждать вопросы, связанные, как будет выглядеть тренинг-программа, я тоже как раз Wesley об этом скажу. Wesley, it's some another questions come, yeah, it's practically just in predicting, so like, yeah, is like, as, again, like, yeah, brief words about, let me say, the interest from the folks to get the information about the SmartX trainings for the partners, yeah, and also again like lately for the customers. But as we discussed it, I'm also mentioned like we will have another session tomorrow practically to make the kind of the agreement and what and how we will go into this one. Yeah, just so that is under the control. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess like I look at the questions. Like I haven't seen your since yesterday you've been asking. Well, you raised a very good point. Like yes, we mentioned that we provide a Nutanix-like solutions, but the meaning of Nutanix like it's not the deliver means, because like I would say that HP, Cisco, they all deliver hardware appliances. So, but in terms of function features and the function reach, we are different. So I would say that SmartX, you are right. Like we are very similar to vSAN, correct? But basically, even for Nutanix, when they were still delivering appliances, they are software on top of server. So we are no different. And in terms of function and features, we are Nutanix-like, and we are vSAN-like. That's correct. Because like we are able to provide some high-end enterprise-level function features, data protections, and the flexibilities. But to compare with Nutanix and vSAN, I would say that we deliver the same quality of function and features, but with a lesser price point. So the entry barrier will be lower, and I guess like the total cost of ownership will be lower. And I look at the Russian market, like I also want to penetrate this market. So the way that I look at it is actually this is the golden window for us to penetrate the market. Maybe we are not able to gain some new wins, but like since trying to get VMware or Nutanix will be very difficult. So it's time for us to penetrate the market, telling them that there is a solution provide the same quality of function and features, and they can buy it now. We do support that. I guess this may be the key message we should deliver to the market. Sorry, Victor, you can translate.
Sure things, yeah. Just like I found the magic button, yeah. Turn the microphone. Да, собственно, да, коллеги, на самом деле, Wesley просто, да, повторил то, что он, собственно, сказал в общем всем аспекте, да, то есть в части нашего, опять-таки, позиционирования, опять-таки, мы специально используем определенные, называется, топики, да, потому что для нас, как сказать, там, Nutanix, это, как правильно сказал Wesley, мы, соответственно, больше, чем, называется, то, что делает, в принципе, Nutanix, и на самом деле в части, называется, там, deliverabilities, да, соответственно, у нас существенно больше расширение, называется, всего нашего, нашего даже портфеля со стороны SmartX, да, по отношению к тех характеристик, которые имеются в Nutanix сейчас, да, и в общем всем аспекте, да, то есть опять-таки, чтобы так время не тратить, да, и Nutanix, и мы, это так или иначе часов поверх определенной серверной инфраструктуры, да, и в общем всем аспекте, как таковой, то есть опять-таки, difference, да, как бы он состоит только в том, что, как сказать, можем ли мы поставлять соответствующие как бы решения или нет, аппаратные внизу, да, соответственно, как мы говорим, да, соответственно, еще раз, может быть, там повторюсь то, что с чего, собственно, начинал, да, то есть вариативности есть, да, и, соответственно, обращайтесь к нам, дальше будем обсуждать там, под проекты или под что-то называется более generic, да, соответственно, будем находить соответствующие вариативности, да, но прежде всего, собственно, да, как бы для вас наш вот сегодняшний называется как для целовых людей, да, или, соответственно, людей, увлеченных в продаже, да, наш основной как бы месседж, да, это в том, чтобы вы как бы понимали, по крайней мере, там суть продукта, да, соответственно, его позиционирование, что на самом деле у него позиционировано существенно более широкое, чем, соответственно, тот как бы там топик, который мы изначально поставили, да, соответственно, hyperconverged infrastructure, да, на самом деле он закрывает энное количество разного рода вещей, да, и, соответственно, может их решать там успешно, все остальное дальше, это я бы сказал, то, что от лукавого, надо, соответственно, самим попробовать, посмотреть, там, если, соответственно, в том числе провести пилоты заказчиками, да, к этому, соответственно, мы в общем всем аспекте готовы, да, включая, соответственно, ивент, да. Да, собственно, чтобы давайте это называется, называется взять некоторую паузу, немножко у нас как бы затянулась. Я тогда, собственно, как бы, да, попрошу тогда, чтобы Уэсли сейчас завершил соответствующую часть презентации, да. Мы, соответственно, пройдемся по как бы определенным, называется, там, тем же самым use cases, да, которые, собственно, планировали изначально сделать, да. Поэтому, опять-таки, как бы, там, если есть какие-то вопросы, пишите с удовольствием в группу, опять-таки, русский, английский, на чем удобнее, да. Вот, и, соответственно, в конце презентации, соответственно, откроем микрофон, и можно будет, если кому-то будет интересно, можно будет позадавать вопросы, так сказать, непосредственно вживую. Wesley, just like to finalize the presentation, yeah, please again, like just maybe to go in the brief, on your last section, like just about again, like this the cases, that's your plan.
Oh, Victor, I was wondering, because like, okay, the coming pages are some, very general case study sharing, since I will pass out all like the materials, like for them, like I rather, answer some of the questions instead of just go through like one by one, because it's application, I think they can read it and you guys can convert it into Russians. Do you think it's a good idea? Because like, I think they are, because like, well, besides the case sharing, that's nothing else. So
just you can just like can just practically just maybe just go like very easy again, like one by one slide, just say like, for example, this is again like a good customer reference one, just done quick. It's practically again the slides is actually telling themselves, that's actually we can share afterwards, just again like it's
and we will questions I rather like answer, but like, okay, let me do it like even faster.
Yep.
I know my presentation are fast. Sorry, man. Like, I have a lot to talk. I have a lot to say. Okay, so as I mentioned, like these are some of the customers that we've been doing worldwide, and you can see that the asset management company, they're using Oracle database. Hitachi, they're operating the ERP system and PLM system on top of our SmartX OS with VMware WebSphere. And Sun Life, Everbright Live, we support their Oracle database. So, and Fortech, I will have a more detailed pages to talk about their remote replication. So what I'm trying to share, it's like, well, some of the customers definitely using the Oracle database, and they will ask all kinds of questions, so ERP solutions. So you can tell them that, of course, like customer will ask whether we are certified by Oracle. Unfortunately, we are not, because like, we're a local company, and it's hard to get past all the certification worldwide. But with all these customers, it shows that they are live production systems running with Oracle database on our system. So it's proven that, well, we do support that. Okay. And well, I guess this is the migration case that I mentioned on the mining company. I'm not going to repeat it. So. And Bank of Communications, you can see that they're cloud-based data center, they do registration, they have more than 100 like nodes installed. This is how the architecture looks like. So when customers like want to see some reference case, well, you can share that. And at Carex, it's well, they are the Chinese automotive company trying to do the autopilot system. they collect the automotive intelligence and trying to provide back to the auto driving system. This is the architecture. Well, they have more than 200 VDIs running on that. I see the question asking about the VDI. We do support, well, they are using a local Chinese VDI solutions, but some of our customers, they are using Citrix VDI. We support, no problem. We do have a matrix to calculate, like roughly how many VDIs clients, running per node. So when you come to these kind of requirements, please come back to Vector Group and come back to us, and we will give you more detailed information about how to operate them. So Guotai it's another one that we talk about. They have deployed their system in multiple locations, and then we help them to do the replications and things to protect their data. And ForwardTech, it's more interesting because, like, well, this is a very detailed several slides of presentation telling you guys, like, what's the background, what's the pain point, and then the original environment, and the phase one just migrate their SAN servers to a HCI virtualization. And this is the phase one. And then after this, how, like, we help them to migrate from their single HCI system into active cluster disaster recovery architecture. So they are deployed already, and this is the entire migration for the whole thing. And what their primary site did, secondary site did, this is a very detailed one that will help you to talk to the customers. Okay? That's why I said I do it very brief. I'd rather go back to the questions, Victor.
Okay, let's right now just switch to the, let me say, to the open microphone, yeah, and just the couple of the questions maybe again, like, yeah, just to answer in this one, yeah. Since we name it like, because it's one of the questions actually, is any kind of the public prices are available, yeah. Just normally say like, yeah, that's why we name it this particular, all of the deals, yes, actually, and that's why we have this very strict deal registration procedures, yeah. There is no present time there. Public pricing, yeah, for the, let me say, SmartX. Yep.
No, we don't.
Yep.
The pricing information, like, not just Russia, like, well, our pricing structure are not available online, like, everywhere. Like, even for me in Middle East, in EMEA, or well, in Southeast Asia, no. So, like, you guys are working with Vector Group, like, you want to get the pricing, please talk to Vector Group. As I state in the earlier pages, like, all the commercial and logistic requirements, pricings, information, please go to Vector Group. Even though you send me direct emails, I will refer you back to them. Okay.
Well, that's yeah. Let me just switch to the also a little bit talk in Russian, just also maybe some questions will become in Russian. Yeah? Коллеги, мы тогда, собственно, сейчас, да, то есть мы как бы сейчас эту сессию просто остановим, дальше, в принципе, можно будет позадавать вопросы, называется, уже там непосредственно, как бы там хотите, называется по-русски, я переведу, соответственно, на английский язык, да, коллеги, да, со стороны фактора вы будете добры, тогда рекординг остановите, и дальше, соответственно, тогда уже перейдем просто к такой сессии, к живой вопросов-ответов, если у коллег какие-то вопросы будут, называется, будут возникать.